A big thanks to Cheddar's Chef for sponsoring this episode.
I found it! I found it! I found it! A new way to cook steak. Yeah. All right, there's an opportunity. There's like a small slight risk that people get pissed off about the way of cooking. But I bet you that if you are a true lover of steaks, you're gonna appreciate what we're about to do. It's gonna be okay. If they don't like this, then they're not steak lovers, true steak lovers. See? Who am I fooling? You guys are too smart for me, so let's just get started. To show you what I'm going to do, I selected this beautiful picanha. That is one of my favorite pieces of meat because it has everything. It's like a versatile steak. It has beautiful flavor and it is tender, and most of the time, like this time, it has intramuscular fat, and that's going to be very tasty. And then as a bonus, you get a big fat cap on the other side of the picanha. And that fat cap is very, very tasty as well. So you got all these things that are freaking amazing, and that makes the picanha really, really likable. Before I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with this picanha, I'm going to fire up my barbecue first, because I'm going to be cooking on the Cheddar's Chef Boma, which is a wood fire grill, and wood fire grills take a little bit of time to get up the temperature. I'm going to start by chopping up some kindle, and the wood that I'm using is birch wood. This is a light burning wood that will burn really fast. Once I got my fire started, I'm going to load on some beech logs. I'm going to let them burn down, and these will turn into embers, which are absolutely perfect for barbecuing. And as a bonus, they give the perfect European smoke style of flavor for barbecue. Traditionally with a picanha steak, you would roast it as a whole, or you would cut it into big steaks to cook it on a skewer just like this. That's how they do it in churrascarias, well known in Brazil, Argentina, and in other countries where they have this as their favorite cooking technique. But you and me, we are going to do it differently. We're gonna mix things up and change it, hopefully for the better. And this is what I have in mind. I'm going to take a sharp knife and I'm going to run that knife in the wrong direction through the steak. There we go. Ooh. First comments coming in, and again, and again. Now I'm going to take that and I'm going to cube this up. Oh my God! Oh! What is he doing? No! Stop that, man! Hang in there. The reason why the picanha can never be an individual winner on all points is because the picanha has meat and fat, and in between the meat and the fat there is a thin layer of silver skin. That silver skin encapsulates the muscle, so it kind of protects it, holds it together. But if you want to eat it, nah, it's not that great. That's why we always cut it off. And here with the picanha cut like this, it's still on. That's why it's always going to be an 8 instead of a 10. Now I know what you're thinking, why don't you just cut it off? Well, we could, but then we would lose significant amount of flavors because we would also get rid of that fat cap. So then you would only have a steak, and that steak is great, but not the greatest. You see what I'm saying here? Oh, you see, this is an ugly piece. You see, I think it just proved my point that it's not really an A+. It is delicious. I could eat it in 20 minutes or so. It's no hurry, I don't need to eat it right now. I could just look at it, or maybe look in the other direction, or ignore it. No haste! The dog is too spoiled. You know what she's thinking right now? I know what she's thinking. She's thinking, why didn't he cut this up into smaller pieces? Now I have to actually chew it. Do you know how much work that is? I don't want to chew. All right, I'll chew. All right, so we're gonna take this thing. Do you see the V shape right there? That's for solidity. I'm going to stick it on to the steak. Whoop. Whoop. Oh, I'm just gonna pop these onto the skewer. Pop. Look at that. Boy, oh, oh. Look, I just made picanha skewered in a different way. Insert the clip where the picanha is round and everything's popped up on the skewer. That's how I would normally do this. But now I came to the conclusion that I want to increase the surface of the picanha. I want to have the fat all over the place, not just sitting on top of it. And I want to add something later onto it. So that's why I gotta have this technique instead of a different technique. But we'll get to that part. I'm going to make the PitmasterX classic barbecue rub with 1 tablespoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of paprika powder, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, and a 1/4 tablespoon of garlic powder. Now, if that all went too fast for you, you can find the recipe on the website, PitmasterX.com, links down below. Whew. And of course, I'm going to put that PitmasterX classic barbecue rub onto our steaks. Just a light seasoning, and if it's windy, don't worry too much about it. Just continue. Oh, go on. Oh. Every single time I just pour something on, a gust of wind comes along. It's like it says no to my steak. The next step is that we're going to take some nachos. I don't think they saw this coming. But the nachos are very, very important. Then add some of this stuff. This is frozen dried cheese. Put the cap on and grind it up. And then you end up with this. And this is nachos and cheese. Start with 1 cup of mayonnaise. Add 2 tablespoons of your favorite salsa, which in my case is salsa roja. And then add a tablespoon of the classic PitmasterX barbecue rub, of which you can find the recipe on PitmasterX.com. If you're ever in search of a good nacho dip, My cheddar chef boma is now nice and hot, and I'm going to put 1 log that is still burning on one side and the other log on the other side. And in between, I have some red glowing embers spread out that's going to give me some moderate heat. Now I can put my skewers safely on in the center without burning the meat. Just let them sit there. This way the fat will render down, the meat will crispen up, and everything will turn absolutely freaking delicious. When you're doing a technique like this, I do recommend sticking around for it, because if you want to do it perfect, it requires some work. You see that there the fat already starts rendering down? So keep on rotating, keep your eye on it, and stay away from the flare-ups. The fire's a little bit on the hot side, and I want to keep rotating so that the fat that renders down doesn't drip into the embers, but stays onto the meat. And that way we're frying the meat on the outside with its own fat. The meat is starting to get up to temperature, so I'm going to place it right here on the plate. And now I'm going to brush on this nacho dip sauce. Mayonnaise with salsa roja, or the salsa that we have, and a tablespoon of the PitmasterX classic barbecue rub. I'm going to brush that on like that. And the reason that I'm using this is because the mayonnaise consists for 90% of oil. And that oil is going to help me fry the outside of these skewers. So we're going to get an even better crust than we would normally have. And to enhance it even more, I'm going to sprinkle on this nacho cheese crust. Back over the fire for the final touch. And now they are done. Of course, I'm going to touch them up a little bit more with that crust so that they have a nice brisk yellow glow to them. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you the nacho cheese picanha kebabs. It's like the 8th world wonder.
Come on.
Oh, come on. Then, of course, I grinded up a little bit of that salsa roja, and I added a little bit of apple cider vinegar to my mayonnaise. And you know I can't live without my cilantro. And that's how we roll. Nacho cheese picanha kebabs. Bam! All right, let's perform a taste test. Look at that. Delicious. A little bit of that sauce. Oh. Rich, creamy, tasty, flavorful, crunchy. We just nailed it. And I need to know from you. If I served this up in a restaurant for you, would you be on a hard pass, or would you devour it? Just hope you guys enjoyed it. You know what to do. The website, the links down below. The whole recipe is written down for you step by step for free. You can't fail. Let's go.